Hey everybody, Daniela here, and today I want to talk about kind of a controversial or kind of a more private topic. I want to talk about Shomer Negiah and I want to talk about Yichud. And I want to get real with everybody, and I really want to discuss the importance of these things. I speak with so many young women in the shidduch process, and maybe bal tshuvas or converts that are looking to marry. And as someone who recently, was in this and went through this process, I really wanted to speak out and talk about the importance of Shomer Negiah and the importance of really maintaining the laws of Yichud during these processes for our safety. So I'm not going to come with this from a religious standpoint. So there's a lot of people that say, oh, I'm not Shomer Negiah, or I don't keep Yichud, or whatever that is. So those are halachas. That is Jewish law. It's not optional, but I'm not going to get into that side of it. I really want to talk from my heart in terms of women and safety. And so I want to share just a little bit of a background. I am a sexual assault counselor, and so I have spent more times than I'd like to sitting beside a woman who has been either sexually assaulted or raped, or a child who's been molested. And in most situations, these horrific things that happen to these women that are very painful and very traumatic, and by no means their fault, could have been avoided oftentimes by the laws of Shomer Negiah and the laws of Yichud. And so I'm not saying in any way, I'm not blaming a victim. Victims are never to blame. I want to make that very, very clear. A person who chooses to violate a woman is responsible for their actions. But I want to talk about how, as women, we can protect ourselves and we can take that extra step. And so I heard a rabbi once speaking about the laws of Yichud, and I'd never really seen it from this standpoint. So he went back to David HaMelech, whose daughter was unfortunately, violated and raped. And as the king, David HaMelech is the king of all of Israel, and there were no witnesses to defend his daughter. There was nobody else that could say, two people saw this happen to her, and he was completely helpless as a father. And this is the time period where a lot of our Yichud laws came into place, and David HaMelech was very, as a father, saying never again will our women be in a position where we are alone and there are not two witnesses to vouch for something that has happened to them. And so I really, as I talk to so many single women that are in the shidduch process right now, and they are, saying, this guy made this advance, or this guy tried to do this, or he wants me to go back to a hotel room, or he wants this, and this is coming from men that are saying that they're frum and that they're, and so I really want to discuss the importance of this, both for men and for women. Everyone needs to hear this. Shomer Negiah, guarding the touch, not touching. It goes against oftentimes our American ways, our American cultures, but what it does is it creates a line that slowly becomes a slippery slope, and whether it's voluntary or involuntary, it normally leads to more. And so as women, as Jewish women, we have an obligation to protect ourselves. We have an obligation to make sure that we do what we can in our power. Again, I'm not in any way discounting any offender's obligation on this, but I want to talk to women about how we can empower ourselves and make sure that we really minimize the risk for ourselves and our safety. And the first way of doing that is making sure that we are Shomer Negiah, that we are not touching, that we are not shaking, we are not crossing boundaries with men, that we are maintaining these laws of modesty, that we are making sure that we are not in Yichud with a man. I don't care if we've been in a shidduch with him for 3 months. If we're marrying him tomorrow, we should not be in Yichud with a man at any time. Even up until the day before I married my husband, we were very careful to not be alone. We left the front door open. We did this, we did that. We made sure people were there. We have to maintain these things, and these laws are not meant to control us. They're not meant to contain us. They're meant to protect us, women. And I think of David HaMelech and how absolutely completely powerless he must have been, the king of Israel, and his daughter is violated, and there's no witnesses, and there's nothing he can do to make right by this because of the lack of witnesses. So I want to talk about that. Even, as a sexual assault counselor, I deal with on such a regular basis women who were alone with people, women who, were in situations and there's no witnesses, and it's this person's word versus this person's word. And in a U.S. court right now, it's about a 3% conviction rate without physical evidence, and oftentimes there's not physical evidence. And so this is no different in Jewish law, and it's why Jewish law is so much wiser even than case law. It shows us that they put these laws in place to protect us as women, so that there would always be two witnesses to say someone did something to me, and it would make someone less likely to do something to someone. I won't say that horrible people still won't do horrible things, because they will, but I really want to encourage women. These laws are not optional, guys, and I know that it's hard, and I was just there a year ago and going through the shidduch process, and I had people that were pushing my boundaries, that wanted to touch, that wanted pictures, that wanted this, that were constantly, and women, I hear you. There are constantly men, please send me an immodest picture, or asking to go somewhere private with you, or want to take you on a date, and sometimes it's very, very confusing for a woman, because we want to find our basharat, we want to be married, we want our family, we see all of our friends are marrying and children and all of these things, and we want these things. And so I just really want to encourage women to look at the laws of Shomer Negiah and the laws of Yichud as something that's actually going to quicker bring you to the point of marriage, not impede your marriage, because the right person will respect you, the right person will not touch you, the right person will not ask you to be in Yichud with them. And men, I know even if you have the best of intentions, please, I ask you to respect the women that you're dating and to hold these boundaries, guys. Make sure, I know it's tempting to want to be alone, I know, we're getting married, we're engaged, whatever it is, until you're under chuppah, she does not belong to you, you do not belong to him, and it's so important that we maintain these boundaries, that we go into our marriages in a sacred place, in a sober mind, really not blinded by the physical, not blinded by any of those things. And so I want to talk again from someone who is a convert and someone who married later. It is very difficult, and it's very difficult to navigate through the process of who is actually frum and who is not. And the number one sign is someone who wants to be alone, someone who's asking you for pictures, someone who's having an inappropriate conversation in any way is not somebody that you want to marry. That right there, the second they've done that, you can say, not the one for me, and you can move on. You can thank them for showing you that they're exactly not the person. And so this is where I really want everyone to understand that as we begin to understand someone who respects us, who will respect us fully. Now, I'm not discussing couples that possibly weren't religious at the time and didn't know better, and so they were hugging and kissing and doing things before marriage. This is not what I'm discussing. I'm discussing frum people, that are religious, that have made a commitment to keep Jewish law, keep the Torah, with Shomer Negiah and with Yichud. And so I really encourage everyone to learn these laws, understand these laws. And understand these laws were not put to bind us. They're not old-fashioned. They're not archaic. They're not outdated. These laws are here to protect us as women, and they will eliminate. Someone as a sexual assault counselor, I can tell you my caseload would drop dramatically if women observed these laws and if men observed these laws. And so I really want to encourage women to take these on, especially during the dating process. It's so tempting to, we're just going to sit and watch a movie, or we're just going to do this, or, and it can be very innocent. You don't have to have negative intent to violate these laws. But these laws put us in a place where we're compromised, where they're not witnesses that can protect us. There's not, a barrier there. And so, the Yetzer Hara is very real, and it gets in the way at times. And so I really want to encourage women to stand up. If there are people that are violating these laws, we remove them from our lives. If there are people that are not respecting these boundaries, we need to really, really take a firm stand and say, absolutely not, this person is not. If you go to if you go through a matchmaker, if you're set up by a friend and this person, crosses those lines, we want to make sure that we encourage people to take a stand for themselves and take a stand for the women of Israel. And so I want to encourage every Jewish woman that's out there that's looking for their basharat. I promise you that these laws help you find your basharat. They do not impede. And so I really want to encourage everyone, please, please, please take on the laws of Shomer Negiah. They're not optional. They are Jewish law, and they're there to protect you. They're there to ensure that someone who does not touch you does not touch you. Someone you don't want touching you does not touch you. The laws of Yichud ensure that you always have witnesses to keep you safe. These laws were not put to bind us. They were not put to control us. They were put to keep us as women safe. And David HaMelech was very wise, and he knew exactly what he was doing from a very painful lesson himself. And he realized the importance of making sure that our women are safe, and that our women are, that they have a voice, that they have other people to speak on their behalf. They have other witnesses to say, yes, this happened. Because if not, people get away with mistreating women. They get away with horrible things, unfortunately. And so I just really want to encourage everyone, please uphold the laws of Yichud. Please uphold the laws of Shomer Negiah. Keep your boundaries as strong as they are. It's so tempting to think, but if I send him that picture, maybe he'll like me, or, well, it was just a hug, or it was just something friendly. It wasn't inappropriate. We didn't cross any lines. But those small lines often become bigger lines. And so I really can't stress this enough, the importance of, as women, us holding those boundaries. And men, please hold these boundaries as well. If you are dating a woman, if you value her, if this is a woman you want to be your wife, show her this respect. Show her exactly how she deserves to be treated, as a beautiful daughter of Israel that's sacred and holy, and that, you're not going to be alone with her, not because you don't trust yourself, but because you respect her, and because you respect Hashem, and you respect the Torah and the laws that have been put in place. So I hope this is helpful, and I hope this speaks to people not from a place of judgment, from a place of concern, ladies. This puts us in a place where we can get used. This puts us in a place we can get abused. This puts us in a place where we can fall victim, and there are no witnesses to back us up. And so I really encourage women to take a strong stand. If you have friends that are struggling, please share this video with them. We need to take a stand on the laws of Yichud and the laws of Shomer Negiah. And women, we set the standard. And if they don't uphold it, we walk away. We talk to rabbis. We talk to rebbitzins. We make clear that this is the standard that will be set. We will be protected as women. We will not be victims, and we will not be left without witnesses to speak on our behalf. That is what the laws of Yichud do. They empower us to be safe. They empower us to keep our person safe. As women, we are physically at a disadvantage. That's reality. That's just the nature of our being. And so we need to make sure that these laws are put in place to protect us. With Shomer Negiah, in terms of guarding touch, I also want to talk about just remaining objective. As human nature, we crave touch and affection, and when we become physically attached to a person, we are no longer objective. We're no longer making our best decision. And from somebody who was once not Shomer Negiah, and you make bad choices in spouses at that time. You make decisions that are not healthy. And I can assure you, as someone who's done it the wrong way and failed, and then done it the right way, and now am with a husband who respects and values me, it's so important, women. It's so important that we are not giving away our bodies, our hearts, our affection to someone that we don't belong to, that's someone that's not our husband, that there's no commitment, there's no, we haven't gone under chuppah with this person. So ladies, I challenge you all, if you are looking for your besheret this year, I challenge you to upgrade in these laws. Hold fast on these lies. Make sure that we are having appropriate conversations. We are setting healthy boundaries to ensure that we find our besheret, and that it is a besheret that is worthy of us and the person that Hashem actually has for us. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Bye.